What's up, guys? Welcome back. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I do not have my headset hooked up, so I don't know what things sound like, but little audio check. Can you guys hear me? Got some chats already. What's going on, Preezy? It's been a long time, man. Hopefully you're doing good. Rick, what's going on? ABC, welcome back. Hey, I appreciate that. Good to see you again. It's been a very long time, guys. A very long time. We are live. Good. Glad to hear it. This was a very unplanned stream. I had to dig through all my stuff to get my stream set up back, my green screen, my microphones, my everything. But my last stream was about a year ago. A little bit more than a year. I think about a year and a half ago. It's been a long time. So I'm glad to be back. Just felt like the right time. I've got the Doge shirt on. I don't know if y'all can see that, but ready to talk crypto a little bit. I guess we'll just get right into it. I don't expect this to be a long stream, but I did just want to pop back in because there's some things going on. There's a little bit of hype. If you are looking at crypto right now, you'll see some movement from Bitcoin, from Dogecoin, from altcoins in general, and Bitcoin. So I kind of wanted to just cover what's going on. I will start off by saying that I currently do not have a position. So I do not own any crypto at this moment. I am still interested in Bitcoin and Dogecoin though. If we go back to what my last stream was, so if we just go back and let me just go to my channel. All right. If we go back to my last stream, this was about a year and a half ago, and if you look at the last couple videos I posted, you'll see the 5 reasons why Bitcoin will crash, the Bitcoin bloodbath continues, this support won't hold, and then more bad news about the 75-point rate hike that was announced. This was right around that time where the government started increasing interest rates, and that kind of started a conversation about have we hit the bottom or will we continue to sell off. And over the course of the last couple streams that I had, what I was talking about was the fact that I did not believe that crypto at its current state was in a bullish situation. And if you are not new to my channel, if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know kind of where I stand as far as crypto and just investing is concerned. And basically, my stance is, if there is no trading to be done, then you really should not be looking at the charts, because all that does, especially if you're like me, you get anxious, you really want to be making money, or, you just enjoy the act of buying and selling and whatnot. So you're going to start looking for trades, looking for signals, looking for things that really aren't there. And you'll end up making some foolish decisions. Looking, just kind of creating buy-in signals mentally and just buying in where there's really not a buy-in opportunity. And all of the news that we had really indicated that this was going to be a negative time for crypto, a negative time for some stocks as well, and that the best thing to do is just hold your position, whatever that may be, close your trading platforms, close those apps out, and stop looking at the charts every day, because there's going to be a whole lot of negativity. and just wait. You know, when the time comes, when opportunities present itself, then get back into it, then look at it again. When there's buy-in signals, when there's things to do. But that's the reason I haven't been live for a year and a half. You know, I have to practice what I preach and stick to my own recommendations as well. And so I did. I really have not been, for the last year and a half, have not been looking at crypto very much. Basically, I open my crypto app probably about 2 times a week or 3 times a week. And I just glance at the price action, see what's going on, combine that with what I already know about real world events. So, you know, what are the markets doing right now? Is there any really positive news for crypto in general? Is there negative news for crypto? And if there's not a good formula for success, you know, close my apps and don't think about it for the next week or a couple days until I glance again. And that's what I've been doing for the last year and a half. Hopefully you have too. And so I took all my money out of my trading accounts. And that was it. Super, he's back. What's going on, Super? I am back. Thank you. I appreciate that, guys. Thank you, ABC. And so the reason that I'm live right now after a year and a half is obviously because there was something to talk about and a reason to kind of look at things again and a reason to live stream again. I'm the kind of person too that when I get involved with something, I kind of all in it. And because that's so time consuming to do, I really did not want to be streaming if I just did not have things to talk about. If I knew there'd probably be no action worth talking about for a year, why live stream every day? I'm kind of wasting my time and, more importantly, wasting your time as the viewer of the content as you watch my 30-minute to 2-hour streams every day, basically saying, hey guys, nothing's happening, when we could just all assume that on our own. So that's why in my last video and last streams, I just indicated, guys, there is not going to be anything positive to report on here. And my stance on things, just to kind of recap, was given all of the things that were going on, we were failing to get ETFs established for crypto. A lot of hype in the industry kind of cooled off. Dogecoin was not looking like it was really going to get accepted by Elon as quickly as we had hoped. The Dogecoin developers were not getting stuff done as quickly as we had hoped. And most importantly, and this is what really led me to stop looking at crypto and streaming, was the fact that there was just so much negativity in the crypto space at the time. All of those things combined. So we have a bad market, right? We have interest rates spiking. We know that the government was trying to force us into a recession-like scenario, which means that people are going to be tighter with their money. They're going to be less likely to buy into novelty things like crypto and stocks and, you know, potentially even housing. We're just going to have a negative market outlook. But on top of that, the icing on the cake was how many bad things were happening in the crypto industry. At the time, we were seeing all these altcoins get created, a whole bunch of meme coins, right, that people would just buy into, and the price would skyrocket, go 10x, and then there would be a rug pull after rug pull after rug pull, people losing their money left and right. We started to see the SEC get involved, and that's what really got spooky, right? When there's so much negativity around crypto, there's so many scams that the government starts to get involved. That's not a positive sign, not only for the price movement, but that just indicates that overall there's a trust issue with crypto. And when we're talking about institutional investors getting involved and other people wanting to buy in, when we've got rug pull after rug pull and nobody feels like they can trust this, obviously that's not the right time to be bullish, right? There's probably going to be some negative action. And then there was just the thing, I mean, you've seen what's happened probably over the last year and a half. Lots of people that got into the crypto space, if we're even talking about brokerages, those went under. Lot of negativity. And we were so far off of the big event for crypto. And as you know, Bitcoin's the market leader. So when I say big event for crypto, I'm talking about the big event for Bitcoin, the Bitcoin halving. That's what every couple of years causes the price of Bitcoin to skyrocket to 2x to 10x, whatever it does, is the halving events. We're a year away. We were 2 years away from the next halving. So we could look for all of these positive catalysts and hope that that would be enough to drive Bitcoin. But when we know overall that the sentiment is negative, and we know that the guaranteed halving event that's going to be the real catalyst for Bitcoin is 2 years away, there's really no point in trying to get your hopes up until you get closer to the halving event, right? But now we're closer. If you look at my last, I don't remember if this was in Discord or on Twitter or in my last video, I don't quite recall. But basically I said, I assume that towards the end of 2023, I said mid-2023 going into 2024, that's when I expect the markets to pick back up, because we'll be getting closer to the halving event, and that's the next major bullish event. That's going to pretty much guarantee to lift Bitcoin up unless things go terribly wrong for Bitcoin, and as a result, that's also when the altcoin should start to follow. And so that, the fact that we're now getting close, combined with Bitcoin making new highs and starting to cross resistance levels, that kind of re-sparked my interest. And that was my signal that, hey, you know what, it's time to start looking at crypto again. There is some real potential for movement here. And so also because of that, it's probably also time to start getting some content back out. So that's the 10-minute explanation of kind of where I've been and why I am here at this very moment. What I'd like to do, I'm gonna have to get used to using this again. I have not used Webull on desktop for a year and a half. All right, so, all right. Oh, there it is. They split that up. Now the daily and larger time frames are on the bottom. Let's zoom out a little bit. You know what I like to do here? Always take a bird's eye view of the charts and then narrow it down from there. First, I'll catch up on some comments here. We're glad you're back. I appreciate that. So good to see you. Thank you, super. Where have I been? How often are you going to be back full time? And what's my opinion on the ETF? So where have I been? Basically, for the reasons I just indicated, I've just been chilling, working. Since my last video, in my last video, I was still living in an apartment. I am in a house now. My green screen's behind me, so you can't really see what's going on, but I'm in my garage. That's kind of where I'm operating out of now. That's my new setup. How often am I going to be back full time? It really depends on what happens here. It really depends. So I'm about to get into what my plan is, but if things go positively, I do plan to take a position, be back in Dogecoin. Over the last week and a half, I've started to load my Robinhood account back up. It was completely empty, but now I'm back to a point where I can buy a pretty good amount of Dogecoin. And so I'm just sitting on my hands right now, waiting for a buy signal. And when that happens, I will be back in fully with probably the largest position size that I've ever had. So I am still fully interested in crypto. This will be the most amount of crypto that I've ever bought, if that helps put things into perspective. I've kind of got a good amount of stuff to say here, so let me make some notes before I forget. I want to talk about Elon Musk and his involvement in Dogecoin a little bit. So let me just write that down. I've gotten pretty comfortable with using my notepad after having used it at work. So, my opinion on the ETF, to be honest, I'm going to have to look into the ETF a little bit. I've definitely been hearing some things about the ETF, but like I said, I don't tend to do a whole lot of, I won't say research because that's not true. But over the last year and a half, I have not been staring at crypto news because I knew overall it did not matter. We had, let's put it into perspective. Around the time we were live last, think of how many positive catalysts that we had. I think we even had, what was it? Bitcoin getting accepted as a method of payment or as a legal tender, right? In different countries. None of that pushed us beyond where we were. So I kind of stopped looking at catalysts as, or those kind of things, as what was really going to drive Bitcoin to the next level. because no matter what happened, positive or negative, we were still not breaking out of basically that channel of like $20,000 to $40,000 Bitcoin. Nothing was pushing us out of that. So I just figured, all right, I guess we have to wait until the real big thing happens, which is the halving. For that reason, I also haven't been looking at news on ETFs and all of that, because at the end of the day, I think it will help, but I don't think that's what matters. The ETF, though, is probably the second biggest thing. I will say that. We've got the halving, which is number one. That's just almost like fundamentals of Bitcoin and how it operates. The more difficulty there is in generating new coins, the more valuable it becomes, so technically the value of it should go up. That kind of goes for any asset. And so I definitely think that's catalyst number one, and like fundamentally, if Bitcoin is going to continue to operate as it does, like that has to stay true. But as far as like a secondary, just what's the best catalyst that could possibly support the price movement behind that one, I think is going to be the Bitcoin ETF. Anytime that you create opportunity for institutional investment to invest in a way that's safe for them and follows kind of their procedure of doing things, we know that usually going through ETFs is the way that big money tends to invest. I mean, that's just always going to be a net positive versus net negative. So I do think it's a positive thing. We could even be seeing within this channel of our supports and resistances positive bullish movement due to the fact that we're getting closer to ETF news. Now that means two things. It could either be a buy the hype, sell the news type thing, or because we're also getting close to the halving, that the bullish momentum is just starting now and will just continue through, because we've got that plus the actual great news, which is the halving coming up. So I do apologize in advance. I'm not going to have a whole ton of information to provide because I literally have not been looking at crypto news over the last year and a half. But what I do want to do is analyze the charts a little bit. So knowing all we need to know, in my opinion, which is Bitcoin, ETF, and halving, the tendency over the next however many months until the halving event is going to be bullish. So let's do some technical analysis. I'm struggling to find the chart view I want. And what's also annoying is that some of my supports and resistances are not here from what I have on my desktop or on my mobile device. I'm trying to put things into perspective here. Okay, that's kind of what I want to see. The ETF dates. Yes. And if any of what I just said doesn't make sense, let me know and I'll try to clarify. All right, here's a little article that kind of explains some ETF stuff. So Tuesday or like Chaz Mandu said, Tuesday or Wednesday is the expectation. Articles are saying that the decision could be out by January the 3rd. And also, there's a very high chance that this ETF will be approved. Even if you look right here, like Chaz Mandu said, the deadline for this is January 10th. So it needs to be before then. And analysts believe there's a 90% likelihood of an approval by this date. So definitely positive news. Definitely positive news. So, like I said, our top two catalysts, the halving, which is guaranteed, which is coming up, and then secondary is going to be Bitcoin ETF, and it looks like this time there is a high chance of approval. We'll just have to see how much of an effect on current price action that an ETF has, because we can only speculate. Whether or not it's going to be more of a hype thing where everybody gets super hyped up and there's bullish movement because, oh guys, finally an ETF, and then everybody sells the news until the halving. So we don't know if it'll be long term. Hey, thank you. Appreciate the motivating for the likes. Super. Thanks, ABC. CH. Oh man, it's been a long time. I'll never forget these names, by the way, guys. I appreciate y'all. Good to see you all again. How have you been? It's been a good while since I last joined one of your streams, almost 2 years, I think. Yeah, I haven't been live for a year and a half, so that sounds about right. But I've been good, focusing on my full-time job, really. Lots of positive things there, but it's been a lot of work. I've moved since from the apartment to a house, and yeah, just kind of been kicking it, enjoying life, and very, what's the word? Just occasionally looking at crypto. Like I was saying earlier, the halving is the thing we have to wait for, and we were just so early. So many positive catalysts at the time, but guys, there were just so many negatives. We had exchanges going under a little more recently, but even before that, people were getting hacked, and almost every crypto project ended up being a rug pull where people were just taking advantage of people, promising all this stuff, getting people to buy in, and then completely wiping the crypto project, taking all the money, and then everybody would lose thousands and thousands of dollars while somebody becomes a millionaire because they scammed somebody. And it was just happening so often. And then with, you know, this SEC getting involved and trying to crack down on that stuff, and there not really being good rules and regulation in the crypto space, it just really didn't set up, it didn't put crypto in a positive light. It made it look like more of a gamble and a risky thing, and none of that is what you want to be dumping millions or billions of dollars into when you are an institution. So it just was not the time. And so we identified that and said, all right, let's wait until things mature and then look at things again as we get closer to 2024. And here we are. First day of 2024. The Doge spaceship. We can definitely look that up. Can definitely look it up. What will the ETF mean for the price? Happy New Year. Thank you. I appreciate that. The ETF could, I mean, two things could happen. I think we're already seeing the effects of the ETF right now. All right, so this bullish price action, this is the effects of ETF news. So we're already starting to see the effects. It's just long term, what will that mean? Is this going to carry us over with bullish momentum up until the halving, which then continues the bullish momentum? Or is this going to be more of a hype play where we're already seeing some new shorter term highs, right? Compared to what we've seen since 2022, we're already breaking into new territory. Is this going to be temporary? Do we just bounce off of here, reject down, or do we go up to another resistance level, 47 or 51-ish, and that's the end of it, and then we come back down until we get closer to the halving? It's all, can't really say. Technicals don't give us that kind of information. It's really just based off of people's reaction to the news, and obviously if it does get approved, is it a buy the hype sell the news type thing, or like I said, does it hold? And that's one of those things you just have to watch out for. All right, let's pull up the Dogecoin spaceship information. So this is good for Dogecoin. So on February the 3rd, there will be the launch of the SpaceX Falcon 9, which will have Doge 1 payloads. And so this is going to be the launch of the Doge 1 mission to the moon. It's completely funded by Dogecoin. And this will be the first space mission funded by crypto. And Elon confirmed this via Twitter. So basically, I mean, yes, that is a positive catalyst for Dogecoin. And going back to just the fundamentals of price movement, though, positive catalysts, especially in meme coins, a lot of times can create short-term price movement. So while I do expect that will probably cause a pump for Doge and some more interest back in Dogecoin, I think still the long term of Dogecoin and all other cryptos tie back into Bitcoin. Bitcoin really indicates as a whole, is this project going to be successful or not? So if Bitcoin isn't doing well, then people are just bearish on crypto in general. That spaceship launch will be February the 3rd, so in a month and 2 days. I've got one or two more things to talk about here, especially as we get to 45.5 on Bitcoin. This is going to be more technical analysis related, just talking about price movement and what my expectations are. This is also what kind of led me to go live today as well, because I realized in our Discord group I was doing a whole lot of typing when it would just be much easier to talk and explain this to more people at once. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you guys what I was talking about. Chaz Mandu says, what about some providers delisting Doge? Honestly, that doesn't concern me very much. I've noticed that a couple popular projects have been delisted recently. And I mean, that could be due to a lack of popularity or whatever. But I have not heard anything negative about Doge fundamentally that makes me believe that it's any different than it was, or any less valuable than it was. So I still think at the end of the day, Dogecoin price movement is going to rely on two things. First and foremost being Bitcoin's price movement. Second is going to be Elon Musk's involvement in Dogecoin. Obviously, if that Doge 1 mission is still taking off, that's great. But actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. So let me come back to what I expect with Doge. First, I want to analyze this price movement. So this right here, this is what concerned me a little bit. Now, obviously, we're a little above the 55,000 level right here, but I'm just going to, for the sake of it, I'm going to draw some lines here so you guys can look at what I'm looking at. This is a very, very popular move. All right. And this is what worries me a little bit about this price movement. Right here, what you'll see, and I'm looking kind of short term here, but this is also on the daily time frame. So this is looking at almost a year's worth of price movement. If you look at the chart, you see obviously a big up move here, and then you see consolidation here over the course of like a month's worth of consolidation and a breakout. I'm very iffy about these kind of breakouts when we are near a resistance level. And as I shared in the Discord group, and maybe I'll just show that picture because I don't have the same drawings on desktop for some reason. But this is how I had my charted out. You guys can't see it, but hang on. All right, so you guys should be able to see this now. This is the way I had my chart charted out. And it's been, these lines, these levels were created prior to my last stream. So these levels I have not been moving around. I did not create recently over the last couple weeks, and I'm not creating new levels as price moves and then saying, hey guys, look, we bounced off this, just like I said. These lines have been here for probably 2 years. So just keep that in mind. There was a resistance line right here. I don't know exactly what price that is, but that looks like about 40,000. And then this is the resistance that I marked at right around 45.5-ish 2 years ago, based off of technical analysis at the time. I guess we had seen some high level of support or resistance at that particular 45.5K. And so I marked that, and you could see here I have alert set for whenever the price were to move below or above those price levels. What we did today, so we got pretty close to that about a month ago, and then we started this consolidation. And whenever you get this like flag, this consolidation flag here, you can see here that the price action, things start to get tighter and tighter and tighter, and you form almost this triangle like a flag. And once you get to the end of it, and now I'll go back to charting this out. All right, so once you get to the end of this, I can do the polyline. It's not perfect, so I'm just going to do it that way. But basically, you get this consolidation, and once you get to the end, a decision has to be made. All right, so you have the tightening support and resistance lines, and you're bouncing around in between there, and then you get to a point where, like, all right, once you get to the tip of the triangle, which way are we going to go? We either have to go out the top of this triangle or out the bottom because there's no more room. And so what we ended up doing was going out the top of the triangle, which is great. But the problem with these kind of breakouts is a lot of times they are what I call fake outs, if you guys remember that terminology. A lot of times they are fake outs. And basically, a fake out is when price movement breaks out aggressively in one direction but does not continue. It ends up then reversing and fully going in the other direction. The reason that concerns me is because on that picture you could see that firm important resistance level was at about 45.5. And so even though we consolidated near that resistance and we broke out to the top, all we did was skyrocket straight to the resistance level. There was still a resistance right above that to be hit. A lot of times what I see and what I have seen when, all right. A lot of times what I've seen when I'm doing technical analysis or just when I've been watching trades is people get faked out by that. So they see the consolidation. They're like, all right, whichever direction this breaks out, I'm going to buy in because, if we break out the top, bullish breakout. Yes, that's true. But that does not indicate that the price movement will continue in that particular direction. And here's what I wanted to show after I sent that message. If we go to, let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. Because if we look back in time, there was another example of this happening not too long ago. You can kind of see it right here. All right, and there are some lines in the way, but I don't want to delete anything. I'm trying to keep my lines that I mapped in the past mapped because supports and resistances don't change. Maybe you get another one eventually as price action creates something else, but the past indicates what the future is going to hold. We don't change our lines. So anyway, if you look right here, you see this. It's basically what just happened, but the inverse. So we go down, right? We go down, we're going down, we're going down. We get a consolidation pattern. Now, if you basically just turn your head and were to flip this upside down, you then can see we have consolidation right here. And I'm just going to do another polyline. We kind of have a bit of a flagging pattern. It's not perfect, so I'm going to do this. A bit of a flag pattern here. And what happens? Well, at this point, if we just pretend like the rest of this price action and price movement is not here, there's two things that could happen if we look at it from that perspective. Either we're going to break out to the top side of that triangle, or we're going to break out to the bottom side. And naturally, you start to think, okay, if we break out to the bottom, that's bearish. The price is going to continue to go down. If we break out to the top, that's bullish. The price is going to take off, and then we go to the moon. But that's not always the case. Because when you do have a breakout and then there's an important level somewhere nearby, a lot of times what happens is it's a fake out. So yes, there was a bullish breakout of the consolidation pattern. What we ended up doing here looked technically great, right? We broke out of the triangle. Then what? We bullishly clear that first little resistance there. Great. And then we even had a 3-candle setup here for continuation where we consolidated. And then you can see we found support again. Then we took off again, bullishly all the way up. But as you can see, we hit the key level of resistance and we did not continue bullishly from there. What happened? We break out bullishly, we hit resistance, and then we come back down to support, and it actually ends up being long-term a bearish move, not bullish. I call that the fake out, because what a lot of people are probably doing is they're seeing this and they're looking super short-term, and they're like, all right, look at this, guys. A bullish breakout out of the consolidation, we're holding at support, we're taking off. Now look at this, we're constantly testing resistance again. This is bullish, I'm buying in. You get a whole lot of people loading up all in here, all for smart money to then sell at resistance, and they're out. And now everybody's bleeding out their money all the way back down. We were at 51,000 on Bitcoin and we sold down all the way to 17.5K. So the reason I'm saying that is because I'm not biased in any particular direction at this point. We could go to the moon here, and if we do, I'm just going to be looking for a good buy-in signal. But just keep in mind that just because we broke out of here, just because we broke out of this triangle and we have bullish movement, does not mean that at any given time we can hit, just like we just did, hit that 45, and I'm just going to put it at where the one is on my phone, which is about 45,450. It does not mean that the bullishness will just continue forever. We could hit a key level of resistance, not clear it, and then actually start to see another downtrend, and that would be the fake out. That happens all the time. And so I'm just going to map out exactly what I'm talking about. I think our resistance or our support level, the key one was right about here. I'm just going to color that something else. Color this something else. Okay. This basically is still possible. Yay, bullish breakout. Maybe even clearing it a little bit. Finding, whatever, breaking back under. All this is still possible. All of that is still possible. So I'm not getting too excited yet, because at this very moment, we are still under like that 45.5 resistance level. If you really look at the chart. Yes, we are holding above 45K, which is mentally going to be a support. Anytime you have like an even number, so to speak, like 45,000, not 45, 450, 45,000, 46,000, 47, 50,000, 55,000, those kind of just like main numbers are what people tend to think about. But if we're looking at the actual indicator, we did reject a little bit. So in order for me to be fully convinced, now I guess I'll change topic to what would lead me to be fully convinced that we are going to continue in a bullish trend here. And that's going to be, we clear 45.5 and we show just strong signs of bullishness from there. Whether that is doing something like this, it could be, obviously we're here, but it could be that we move up some, we hold here for a little bit of time, maybe that's hours, or days or whatever, and we're just showing signs of strength here, indicating that we are not going to go back under, that the resistance is now our support. That point, that's a buy-in signal. Technically, you want to see, people will say 2 to 3 bounces off support off of a resistance to indicate that it's now support. But the problem is that number can change depending on what time frame you're looking at. You might see 20 bounces off of support on your 1 minute time frame, but if you zoom out to 1 day, that might equal 1. It could have all happened in 1 day. So I don't get too consumed with trying to put numbers around things like that. It's really just, do we find support at a key level? Strong, clear support, yes or no? The other thing that would indicate that we found clear levels of support, that it's probably time to buy in, it's just clear, strong, bullish movement. So if we, for example, just do this, and we're hovering around here, and we just take off like a rocket, we might be good, right? That strong continuation of movement, once we pass resistance, that could be the signal that, all right, we've got enough people all thinking the same thing, that this is a buy-in opportunity, and there's going to be some either shorter term or longer term extremely bullish movement. And so it's probably better to be safe than sorry. And maybe, you know, if you're not buying in at your exact ideal discounted price, I know for me, I would love to have Doge closer to 5 cents. I really don't think no matter what happens here, we're going to see that again. But, you know, my ideal discount price is like 7 to 8 cents. Right now, we're at about Dogecoin at 9 cents. I'm not going to get greedy if we show signs of bullishness, if we look like the ETF is going to just rocket ship us all the way up to the halving, and we just continue on to Bitcoin 50, 60, 70, 80, whatever, 100,000, 150,000. I'm not going to greed my buy-in, but I will probably start to scale in if I'm a little bit higher than I'd like, just in case there's a reversal and we catch something. So instead of going all in, maybe I'll go half in, something like that. But that's basically the two things. All right, I will talk about the price movement a little bit more here. Let's go to a shorter time frame, and we could see there is a lot of movement here. We are slowly but surely kind of peaking and making little new highs here. So I would say overall, things do still look bullish. I would not be negative about the price movement right now. If you're trying to decide whether you should feel hype or negative sentiment about this crashing, I think the current price movement is indicating that things are bullish, not negative. But I just, you never want to lead with emotion when it comes to making financial decisions. That's what messes people up. So you look at the chart, you make sure things are clear, you make sure that without any emotion in it, you find some kind of confirmation that this seems to be the logical, smart decision, and then you act accordingly. But I'm still looking at it. We're still really hovering above that 45.5. I'm on a much shorter time frame now, but you just see there's a whole lot of rejection wicks. That's really what's getting me. And we're right at the resistance level. I need to see support. I want to see those rejection wicks on the underside of the candles above this line. That's what's going to make me feel better. Not seeing that we're rejecting the high prices and keep falling back down under this blue line. Because all this is telling me, and is telling us rather, is that people are buying it up, but then as soon as it's getting near this key level, people are selling because they don't believe that the price will continue up. They think, all right, I need to lock in my profit now. So they're selling off all their shares of Bitcoin. That's what those rejection wicks indicate. That's not usually what you want to see. So I'll continue to keep an eye on it. How old are we? You hit heart. How old are we? Hey, Mariano, you look like Craig David. Are you asking how old I am? Craig David, I'm not even sure who that is. I'll look it up really quick though. I probably know who it is, but I just don't recall. Oh, I do kind of look like him. That's kind of weird. I usually don't agree with lookalike comments, but I see some resemblance. I definitely see some resemblance. All right, we're Bitcoin 45.5. like I said, guys, I have a good amount of Dogecoin. Actually, I'm going to buy some more right now. Not Dogecoin. A good amount of money in my Robinhood account. I'm ready to buy Doge. Let's take a look at Dogecoin. On the chart, it was here just now. So Dogecoin's reacting pretty well to the news. Dogecoin is up on the day about 4.5%, and Bitcoin is at about 7%. So as we know, if you guys have been here for a while, I feel like even though I haven't said these things for a year and a half, I still feel like I'm repeating myself because I've said it so much, and I know you guys have heard it so much, but altcoins tend to trail price movement of Bitcoin. You will usually first see some reluctance from the altcoin investors. They're like, all right, are we doing this? Are we not? Where's the confirmation? There will be some lag, and then usually they will like slingshot and catch up. And a lot of times then may continue in that direction beyond what Bitcoin does. As we can see here, pretty uncomfortably large rejection wick on Bitcoin here at the key level of resistance. We are now back pretty far under 45.6, which was the peak, and this is on the 30-minute time frame. If we go down to 1 minute, you'll see here we hit the line, creeped back up, went above it, didn't find support. We rejected off of it. And you never want to be this person, any of these people that did the, oh my gosh, we just crossed the line, I'm gonna buy in now, hype buy in. That is never where you want to be, because this is always still possible. That's why you always, I'm just gonna clean this line up a little bit. Actually, it was good where it was because of that. You always ideally want to see some sort of pullback, a retest of the level, even if it's not perfect, right? You want to see something, some sort of pullback to where some people took profit and we did not see everyone take profit, like what just happened just now. Take profit, we stay above the support, and then we do some more movement of some sort, whatever it may be, above this line. But these people got burnt. And a lot of times what you'll see, because you also need to keep in mind that not everybody is a buyer. Some people are shorters. That not everybody is going long. Some people are going short. And so as a trader, if you're going to go long, you usually will have a stop loss. So, and I'm just talking about these things while we have some time. If you are looking to buy in at a support level, let's say right here, and you see the price coming down, you're hoping the price goes up, right? You see the price right here, you're gonna buy in maybe right here, but you're gonna say, all right, if we go below this level, maybe that's 5% of the price or whatever, I'm gonna say, all right, I was probably wrong, time to sell and cut my losses. So you might buy in here, you might buy in here, and you just kind of hold on, expecting that long term it's going to go that way, but you will have some lenience. But that goes in the other direction too. As a shorter, you might short anywhere from here to here, just thinking that this move won't hold, and expect that it reverses and goes the other way. I'm just analyzing things as they happen, but I mean, we could see bullish movement here. We just must wait, let it play out, and tell us what it's going to do. R&B singer from the UK. Nice. All right, my last topic. Before I forget, let me put some more money in my Robinhood, because I don't know what's going to happen, but I do want to be prepared. keep in mind, as I talk to you guys about the potential negative outcomes, I am also loading up my crypto account preparing to buy. So don't think that I'm bearish. I have no bias at this point. I think it could go either way, but it's really easy for everybody to think about, especially if you already have some Dogecoin or Bitcoin or whatever, think about it going to the moon and not always consider the realistic side of things, which is, well, things don't always go to the moon. There's a lot of market manipulation from institutions and things that could go poorly. So that's usually what I talk about more. That's the harder part to analyze. But Bitcoin is doing well, all things considered. I'm just going to map this out. Bitcoin 45K is a psychological level, especially for people that aren't doing super in-depth technical analysis. They're just going to, that's the easiest number to keep in mind. And right now, people are probably saying Bitcoin is holding above 45,000. And so they're feeling bullish. So that's going to be a lot of retail traders feeling good about being above this price right here, not caring about this. So let's keep that in mind. I'm caring about this level because I've had this level mapped for 2 years. And if it's still holding weight, and it has in the past, we know that that's a really strong level that as technical traders, we need to be aware of. Because this is the retail traders care. This is the ones that are smart and don't want to get faked out. That's the one they care about. Now, what you could have done was bought a little riskily right around here at 45 on the way up, and then just plan to say, all right, well, if I'll buy at 45K, since we're seeming to cross that again for a second time, and if we don't hold at 45K and we go back down, I'll sell. This will be my stop loss, where I just say, all right, I was wrong, and I'm going to cut my losses here and maybe lose 3 to 5% on my trade, and I'll look for another buy-in opportunity later once I get some confirmation. But me, especially kind of being inactive and not being in any kind of rush, also looking at Dogecoin and not seeing it near 10 cents yet. We've still got 0.7 to go, 0.07. I know I want to be in under 10 cents, and I've still got some room, so I don't really care too much. If I've set out for a year and a half, I can sit out for a couple days if needed. Yes, FOMO bad, keep the emotions out, buy the dip, exactly. So the last thing I'm going to talk about here is Dogecoin and Elon Musk. I think that Elon Musk still is going to play a very... All right. I think that Elon Musk is still going to play a very important part in Dogecoin's success if Dogecoin is going to be more successful than other altcoins. At the end of the day, no matter what coin it is, as long as it's not a super meme hype coin, pretty much all of the altcoins, Ethereum, Solana, or whatever, if Solana even still exists, it's been a long time. Let's just pull this up. All right, Ethereum, BNB, Solana, XRP, Cardano, for the most part, all altcoins are going to move about the same as Bitcoin percentage-wise. If we look at the last 24 hours, Bitcoin's moved about 7%, Ethereum's moved a little over 5%, Solana's moved a little over 8%, Dogecoin has moved a little over 4%. Everybody's moving in the same direction, give or take a few percentage points depending on how popular the coin is, what the recent news is, whatever. They're all kind of moving together in a way. Some lag behind, some move a little bit faster. Like I said, depends on the amount of hype, popularity, so on and so forth. But if Bitcoin goes up 20%, Dogecoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, all the other altcoins are going to be moving somewhere between probably 15 and 25%. No matter what, at the end of the day, you have to think of that whole market of crypto as a unit that follows Bitcoin. But if we were to break out of that and see Bitcoin or Dogecoin become more successful than Bitcoin is, Bitcoin's moving 10% up, Dogecoin moving 20% up or 30% up, I think a lot of that has to do with Elon Musk adoption. And what I really mean by that is more news for Dogecoin with being a key part of payments via Twitter. I think also we have to consider crypto actually becoming an established method of payment in general outside of that, without using those third-party solutions that we talked about in the past, like I forget what it was called. I don't remember the name of the apps, but those payment programs that allowed you to load up your account with crypto, but then pay the company in fiat. All that has to go. We need to see crypto actually become a well-established means of payment. In order for that to happen, crypto has to be trusted. It has to be well adopted, and it has to be trusted. None of that's going to happen until Bitcoin shows that it's a valuable asset, that it's not a joke. Now we have all eyes on crypto, so to speak. And it's not that everyone's staring at it right now, but pretty much everyone is aware of crypto at this point in time, whether or not they agree with it or not. A couple years ago, you walk down the street and you ask people, have they ever heard of cryptocurrency? They'd have no idea what you were talking about. Today, you can walk down the street, ask someone if they've heard of crypto. They'll probably say yes, but I think it's a scam. Or yes, but I actually have some. Or yes, but I don't care about it. Whatever. Or yes, I think it's the future. Everyone is aware of crypto now. Now, people have to be shown that crypto is actually worth taking note of. That it's to be trusted, that it's valuable, whatever. I think that is what's important. Bitcoin setting new highs as we get closer to the halving event and beyond. If Bitcoin continues the way that historically it has and the way everyone expects it to, around that time or beyond that time, we should be expecting to see Bitcoin start setting new highs. We should be passing the $70,000 level and moving on to our next targets. That's when crypto hype in general, from institutions and everybody's kind of looking at Bitcoin like, wow, Bitcoin's the moneymaker. We start to hear famous people and celebrities talking about it again. Because we know even back when Bitcoin was doing this bullish run like here, we heard about all kinds of celebrities buying Bitcoin, and it became a talk amongst them, which means they're talking about it, their followers are hearing about it, so on and so forth. It needs to become a common topic of conversation and interest. People need to be influenced, almost in a way, that it's worth buying. And I think that will happen once we get back to those levels. But I also think, as a company right now, if you look at it from a business standpoint, what sense does it make right now, when no one seems to care about crypto at this given moment, to start advertising that you accept crypto? Like, if at this point right now, let's just say I own a business and I say we accept crypto, knowing that at this point in time, almost no one cares about crypto because it's in a negative, bearish state, it is not really going to do anything for my brand. It's probably not going to be received super well. It's not going to increase my business or my sales. People are going to just think it's a gimmick or a meme. The time that that's important is when people care. That'd be the time to do it. I also think right now, as a business owner, knowing all the problems that crypto has had over the last 2 years with rug pull scams and people not trusting it and whatnot, that even me personally as a business owner, it may not just be the best time for my company. If I talk to my CFO and I'm like, hey, I think we should accept crypto. All right, well, is it stable? Is it trustworthy? Is it going to cause us financial problems or financial benefit? If any inkling of that answer leans towards it's risky, it's sketchy, it's not safe, it could compromise our balance sheet, all of those things, it's not going to happen. And so I think, too, from Elon Musk's and Tesla and Twitter and all their perspective, obviously Elon's interested in it. I believe you can still go on Tesla's website and buy things with Dogecoin that are relatively low value. But if we're talking about saying Because obviously, if you look at Twitter, you now know that you can be a content creator on Twitter and get paid, just like you can do YouTube and get paid for how many viewers you have and get ad revenue and all that stuff. You can now do that on Twitter. If we're going to say that Dogecoin is going to be the primary method of paying people, it's going to be the currency of Twitter, you need to make sure that that method of payment is stable, is trustworthy, is actually valuable for everybody. I don't think at this point in time, at this very moment, all of those boxes are checked. So for that reason, I don't think right now Elon Musk is going to make an announcement and just say, hey, Dogecoin for Twitter. I don't think, or Dogecoin for Tesla on all products. I don't think it would make sense. I don't think he could get clearance for that through the rest of the smart people on his team. I know if it were me personally, and I were selling high value, high cost products, I don't think on my balance sheet I'd want it all to just be Dogecoin. I'd probably take that Dogecoin and quickly convert it to something more stable and trustworthy. So I kind of try to put myself in the company's shoes, and it just doesn't seem like a great idea, especially if it's not going to generate you more business. It's kind of like, well, what's the point? What are you doing it for? And right now, there's just no hype behind crypto, so what would you be doing it for? You're just opening yourself up to risk for no reward. So all that to say, I think the Dogecoin hype with Elon Musk involved is really going to be driven by crypto stabilizing, Bitcoin bringing interest back into crypto first and foremost, crypto stabilizing, Dogecoin starting to attract retail attention once again, as people start to change their mentality from, oh, Dogecoin and SHIB and all these coins are dead, to, oh, look, they're setting new all-time highs, check it out. To where there's actually some value add to accepting crypto as a method of payment. But then what I'd really like to see is the Dogecoin developers continuing to put effort behind making Dogecoin a great option, or the option, the go-to for use instead of using the dollar. There needs to be benefits for doing so. And then also I'd like to see some government regulation, honestly, coming in. Obviously, I'd prefer for it not to be super strict, because then that takes away some value, but some kind of safeguard against rug pull, because that's what's going to make people most nervous, just getting into crypto in general. And that's going to discourage people. I'm sure there are people that were super into crypto, super into crypto a year and a half ago. Let's just say maybe even 50% of meme coin investors that bought in got rug pulled or lost a whole lot of money, and probably never plan to touch crypto again because of that. And they just said, never doing that again. I lost all my savings. I threw it in this project that said it was doxed and trustworthy and all this and backed by this and all these security safeguards, and then I got rug pulled and lost $25,000. So until those risks are gone, or minimized, until there's trust, until there's hype again, I don't think Elon Musk is going to make a big announcement. So I'm not waiting on that. I do think it's always something to consider, because Elon can be unpredictable. And I think with X, I called it Twitter, sorry. With X, it's probably more likely to happen than with Tesla, because we're talking about vehicles where there's already margins, profit margins, potentially slim ones that you have to factor in. You really would hate for something to go wrong there. But if we're talking about X, where it's a privately owned company, Elon owns it, you don't have to worry about stockholders' opinions on things and whether making a decision is going to increase or dramatically decrease the value of a company. And also, when you consider X to Twitter before he bought it, Twitter was losing how much money per year? I think it was hundreds of millions, at least, per year. Any improvement that's been made from that point to now, there's probably room to offset and risk a little bit by saying, all right, we're going to take our, which didn't even exist before, Twitter Blue or X Premium, whatever they call it now, subscription fees you can pay in Dogecoin. And if you are a content creator, we're then going to pay our content creators for their ad revenue or whatnot in Dogecoin. I think that is just much easier to do than saying, all right, you can pay for your car with Dogecoin. So, through Tesla, which is a public company, and their shareholders, and they might not like that, so on and so forth. So I think if anything, it will happen for Twitter first. And being that Elon's unpredictable and it's his company, yeah, he could do that sooner than later. But I think, I mean, if I'm just trying to be smart, again, I'd probably want to wait. I'd probably say, well, let's see what crypto's going to do first. Let's make sure that by saying we're going to take crypto, that crypto does prove it's not dead. Because then what? I now have all this Doge and this Bitcoin that tanked from 45,000 down to 20,000, and the halvings occurred, and it looks like everything that we knew is out the window. If we're only months away, why not look at it, prove that things have stabilized, prove that things are positive, let all the hype come back into crypto, and then, I mean, that would be a way more meaningful announcement to make when everybody actually cares that, hey, we're taking Dogecoin, versus when no one at this moment, you know, crypto's kind of we're in the crypto winter. I think that was... Is that what I said? It was somewhere, one of these videos. Crypto's in hibernation, so let it sleep. When it awakes, that's when you do your thing. So that's my opinion. That's also another reason why I have not had a position. Now, I still would have liked to buy Dogecoin at 5 and 6 cents, and I would have, but I just knew, first and foremost, I needed that money for other things at the time, and I also figured we wouldn't see anything too crazy happen, so yeah, I did lose out on potentially nearly doubling my investment if I had bought right at 5, but there were just some... Investing was not the number one priority at that time. I need to do some other stuff, but now I'm back in it. We're ready to go. Bitcoin is still messing around with this 45.5 level. I think at this point, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. I would recommend, if you guys have Robinhood, they make it really easy. Go into your Robinhood account, go on to Bitcoin, and set an alert for when set an alert on Robinhood for when Bitcoin goes over $45,600. $45,600. That is going to be my recommendation to you. Because if it does that, essentially what that tells us is that we're potentially finding some level of support at higher prices. Because we've already gone up here. We've gone up to 45.57. And we rejected, and we started to consolidate, and now it looks like, at this moment, we are holding under the resistance line. But if things change, and we find support, people do start continuing to buy in, and we make a new high, that's going to be the time that you want to open your Robinhood or Webull app or whatever back up, and start taking a look. From personal experience, I recommend setting your alert on Robinhood. Webull does not seem to be as reliable with alerts. And I actually found out that Bitcoin had gone over one of my Webull alerts way after it happened today. So set your alerts on Robinhood for Bitcoin, $45,600. If the price goes over that, you're going to want to look at your chart again and start thinking about whether it's time to make a decision. I think that's going to do it for tonight, guys. Again, this was an impromptu stream. Just grabbed my green screen, had to find all my stuff, but grabbed my green screen, got that set up, had to dig through bins to find all the components, got my microphone back, all my stuff, had to find my lo-fi playlist, but now we've got everything back situated. We broke the 1.5-year hiatus, so I believe we're going to be a little more active these days. And maybe we'll get some YouTube monetization again, because I lost that from not having been live for so long, but it doesn't really matter. YouTube live streams, I mean, if you get 50 to 100 views, it's a couple pennies probably. So that's not why we're doing it. We're doing it to make money off of the investment together. My last thing I will say here, hang on. That's not what I meant to type. All right. This is just something to note. Okay. Something to note. Bear flag. And this may not pan out to be that, but just as I look right here, seeing a little something like that. So at this point in time, I mean, it's consolidation regardless, so you just need to look at which direction it's going to break out of, but you can see this little bit of a channel starting to form right here. And usually this does not continue on forever, so it's very unlikely that you're going to see that be the channel, right? It's usually a very short-term thing with a couple candles, and then there's a decision. Is it going to fall out the bottom or make a break to the upside, find some support and take off out of there? So that's also something I'd be keeping a look at or keeping an eye on. You know, we could do something like that there, or we could go the other direction. I will be continuing to watch this as the night goes on. If I find anything worth noting, I will mention it in the Discord group and on my Twitter account. If you want to follow me on Twitter or X, I will start calling it X from now on because that's what it's called. My username is 2020tech official still, so you can always still find me there. But also if you're in the Discord group, of course that's where I usually type in chat. So either way, I'll see you in either one of those places. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you're not subscribed at the moment, go ahead, consider subbing. Obviously, we are back, so I will probably be posting a little more often. And again, set your Robinhood alerts for if the price goes above 45,600, and you can probably close your app for the rest of the night. But I am definitely looking at this candle. I'm on the hour, whatever, it doesn't matter what time frame you're on, but these candles right here, as we are testing resistance, there's a lot of indecision here. If people decide to buy, we might go and take off tonight. If not, we might end up back in the $44,000 or maybe even $43,000 range at some point tomorrow. But things are still looking bullish. Just keep that in mind. Don't take your eyes off for too long. You might miss a buying signal. There's a lot of hype right now. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it. Have a great night. Thanks for tuning in.